after making $200,000 in my online business and helping people like Patrice make $30,000 in a single month, and working with coaches like Dan who make over $1 million a year, all through the power of his content, I've learned that there's two methods, the ultimate unlock to growing your business in 2025. Those two things are views and trust. And the simplest way that I've learned to get more views and to build more trust in 2025 is through the podcast method. And so in this video, I'll be breaking down what is the podcast method, why is podcast the secret unlock to growing your business in 2025, and how you can implement this method in your business in 3 simple steps. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive on in. So what is this podcast method, and why is it the secret unlock to growing your business in 2025? Well, if you're anything like I was, I struggled knowing what content to create, how to create it. And as a videographer in my, previous business, I would help people do those things. And I found the easiest way to bring out the best version of themselves was through a podcast. It's through asking them questions, because we are all not trained actors and actresses. We're not good to riff off the camera. I mean, some of us are, but not all of us. And so the easiest form to get more comfortable and to speak your truth and to not overthink things is through a podcast. So the podcast method is simply to set up a camera, set up a conversation would make it even easier, and you press record, where you talk about your expertise, you roll through the punches just like a normal conversation, and you end up with a video that's natural, that's authentic, and actually shows the best parts of you. And the coolest part about this is you don't actually have to post a real podcast. All you need to do is actually post a YouTube video in a podcast format. This is called almost like the fake podcast, where you see this arm, it looks like a podcast, it has that traditional podcasty look, but you don't have to have a podcast. You don't actually have to extract the audio and post it onto Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Although I would recommend it, it is not needed because you're not actually creating a podcast. You're giving the impression of a podcast. And this is why. The reason why more entrepreneurs are going on podcasts or starting podcasts is because podcasts just outbeat on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. That's right. More people are watching podcasts on YouTube than the traditional podcast platforms. Podcasting is on the rise, is the number one piece of content that entrepreneurs are consuming in 2025. You probably have a favorite podcast that you listen to, that you learn from, that you laugh at, and you know the hosts very, very well because you spend so much time with them. And so a big reason why this is so important is because of the 7-11-4 rule. Google came out with a study that it takes on average 7 hours for us to gain enough trust in order to buy from you. If I only made short form content, imagine how much content I would have to create in order for you to get 7 hours. I don't want to do the math because I know it's a lot. Versus I can make 7 podcast videos and I can hit the 7 hours in a week. So imagine how much content, again, you have to make if you do short form, right? It's just so much easier to make a podcast. Number 2, I don't have to script it, right? I don't have to script a podcast. As you see here, I have no script. This is something that I am just wanting to speak to you, and I'm showing my authentic self, and I'm not looking at a script and trying to be perfect. I'm just showing you guys who I really am. Next thing is you don't have to go viral. Podcasts are niche specific. Think about the podcasts you listen to. A lot of the podcasts you listen to are probably very niche specific. One's talking about sports and another's talking about finance, another's talking about marketing. They're niche specific because that is what you want to learn. That is what you want to get into. It's very hard for a podcast that's broad about life to really, really pick up, right? Unless they already have an audience. And this is great as entrepreneurs, because as an entrepreneur, our business is designed to solve a problem, a specific problem. And so what I see a lot of entrepreneurs make the mistake is they go too broad. They try to make a podcast, or they try to make content that services people that wouldn't even buy from them. They think the more eyeballs, the more money, but it doesn't always add up that way. Because I've worked with influencers with literally millions of followers who you'd be shocked at how much little money they make when it looked at, how much followers they have. And I've worked with coaches that have less than 2,000 followers, less than 500 subscribers that are making millions of dollars. Like Dan Bolton, he has less than, I think, 5,000, 6,000 subs on YouTube, and yeah, he's making $2 million a year. Or Tim, my client, has less than 8,000 subs, and he makes over 100 grand per month with his channel. Or Patrice, who makes over $50,000 per month, and she has a relatively small audience as well. So these are perfect examples of entrepreneurs that are making a large amount of money without the need of going viral and massive audiences. You don't need that in 2025. The coolest thing that I've seen is that subscribers and followers don't matter anymore. They don't. What matters is views. It's because when you have views, you have attention, you can channel that attention to your offer, to your lead magnet. And so when you have that attention, it doesn't matter because the algorithms are not designed anymore based on subscribers. They're designed based on what? Your content. Your views. This is why TikTok is giving you videos you want to see. If you want to see politic videos, you see politic videos. You want to see cooking videos, you see cooking videos. You want to see dog videos, you're going to see dog videos, right? The algorithms are designed to give us what we want. And so this is another mistake I see people make. They're not creating what their audiences want. And so these are just a few of the reasons why podcasting is so important in 2025. I don't care whether you are just setting up and creating a fake podcast, you're actually starting a podcast, or you're going on other people's shows. You need to be using podcasting in 2025. So let's talk about how you can use podcasting to actually grow your business. What are the steps? Step number one, you have to think about your position. So if you want to use podcasting, the best thing is to actually understand how you're different. If I just told you, hey, my name is Kyle Miles, I'm a videographer, and I make YouTube videos, it doesn't really stand out. There's a lot of other YouTube videographers or YouTube business owners out there, right? It doesn't really stand out other than maybe me having a ginger beard. Like nothing else stands out. What if I told you that I've been able to work with over 30 multimillionaires? I've been able to work with Skool.com, and I actually specialize in making simple YouTube and podcast videos that help entrepreneurs attract their dream client and never have to worry about client acquisition, about unpredictable revenue again, right? Now it's a mouthful, but I'm way more memorable. It's because I've actually taken the time to understand my position in the market. Where are the gaps that I could fill? And this isn't something I just thought of and then created. This is a thing based on my experience. So step number one in actually establishing your position and what makes you different and how you stand out is you go through your past proof, your past wins. So I recommend running a list of all the wins that you had in the last 2, 3 to 5 years, right? Last year, I made over $200,000 in my business. In my entire business, I've made over $500,000, which is pretty cool. But in the last year, I made over $200,000 in my business. That's a win. And I did it through YouTube and podcasts. Pretty much those are the two main things. I didn't run ads. I didn't really cold DM or cold call anyone. I just had people discover me through my YouTube channel, through my podcast, and then they either hopped in a call or they even like inquired just to work with me. That is a huge win. And so that makes me different because no one else can say that. Right? Someone else can have similar stories, but no one can have that exact story because it's tailored to me. The next piece of the puzzle is understanding what problem did I solve. Before I was investing heavily into YouTube, I was all about short form. I had a short form agency. People would send me YouTube videos and I would repurpose them into short form. But the problem was it was really, really hard to see results because we'd have to create so much content, hundreds of videos for them to see an ROI on that, right? And if you know, when people are paying you like a lot of money, like $3,000 to $5,000 per month, they want to see a return on the investment. And so it was really hard for me to actually get the results for every single person because everyone's different. Like what they say is different, and not all the short form videos were like great because it's based on what they said. Although it was edited really, really well and packaged really well, we weren't getting as the type of results that I wanted until we started niching down into YouTube and podcasts, where we started to see real growth. So Corey, he tripled his business in just under a year through his podcast. I'm working with Carly, who's getting hundreds and actually grew her YouTube like almost doubled in the span of 30 days because of a podcast. Like I said, Patrice, she made over $30,000 from a single video. Guess what that video was? It was a podcast. It was actually a 7-minute podcast, which is like crazy. Anyways, I'll talk about that in a future video. If you want to see that video, put in the comments 30K single podcast and I will send you that video. Okay, what I'm trying to say is this. You have to understand what problem you're solving. right? So you understand your proof, then you have to understand the problem you're solving. So the problem I was solving was leads, was clients, was trying to get more people to buy their stuff. And so I solved that problem by going and learning everything I can about YouTube, everything I can about podcasts. And it resulted in people making all the things I shared. Quick note, the problem and what problem I solved for who. All those examples are online coaches. Every single one of them are online coaches. And so now I've understand what proof that makes me different, who and what problem and who did I do it for. Now the last piece of the puzzle is the process. So in order to establish your position in the market that makes you different and to get more views and to build more trust is then your process. How did I help these entrepreneurs use YouTube to get those clients? Well, I'm walking you through the process right now. This process that I'm sharing with you, I'm walking you through it, right? So this process is what makes me different. And so when I tell people, I don't tell people anymore, oh, I'm a videographer or I'm a video creator for entrepreneurs, I help entrepreneurs make money with content. And here's some proof. And I use it through simple YouTube and podcast videos using the podcast method and And now all of a sudden I'm memorable and they're intrigued. So this is how you establish position in the market. And this is step number one. Before you invest in equipment, before you invest in mics and all the traditional things you think a podcast is, you have to understand your position. And you can apply this to an actual podcast if you want to design a show, like my show, The Content Playbook, where we help entrepreneurs master content creation so they can turn their content into clients, cash, and freedom. You can use the same thing, what proof, what problem, and what process, and you can create a show around it, around those three elements. So that's the first step, position. Now that you have mastered your position, you want to then go into publishing. So step number two is you have to understand that you can't get views if you don't publish. And you can't gain trust if you don't publish. Like, we run online businesses, right? If you ran a brick and mortar business, it would be different. You could build trust through networking events, all that kind of stuff. Because it's online, the only way to build trust and the only way to get views is through publishing. But again, what type of content? Podcast, right? So how do we do this? What's the formula that we take? Well, I've actually designed a formula and I'll bring it up right now. So the formula that you want to follow is this. You have to understand when you're posting a podcast on YouTube that the two metrics that YouTube looks at how a video is successful, and when a video is successful, they reward you with more views, is these two things: the click-through rate and your watch time, right? There's other parts of this formula, of this algorithm, but I want to focus on these two key things. And these are the most important things, okay? I've created over 500 YouTube videos across multiple different niches and across multiple different clients. And these two things, when we master, results in views and trust, and that results in clients. Here's the formula, guys. Okay, here's what you publish. You have to give people what they want. So often I see people create content based on what they know their clients need. Here's the problem with that. YouTube is a search engine. People go to YouTube to solve a problem, at least in education on our world, right? Of course, some people go to entertainment, but in this video, we're talking about education. If I'm looking to solve a problem, I'm wanting to solve something. And so the mistake that entrepreneurs make when they're creating podcasts and YouTube videos and any type of content is they don't give people what they want. It goes against the algorithm. The algorithm is designed to serve up content we want to watch because YouTube wants us to stay on the platform. So they're going to give us things that we want so we stay on the platform. So don't make content what you want, make content what your audience wants. And then you want to combine that with some type of curiosity. So when you combine the desires, the dreams, and the wants of your audience with something that's unique and different, that's why we go through the proof, problem, and process. That creates a winning formula to master the click. The videos that get the most amount of clicks on YouTube master want and curiosity. And curiosity is the hardest part. Just think about why. Like I can make a video about how to grow your business with a podcast, or I can make a video about lead gen is on easy mode using the podcast method. Both meet the desire, but one is way more curiosity driven. And you see that more people would click on that because they're curious and almost like you're creating an open loop that they have to close. And the only way they close is they click on your video. So the next piece of this is actually watching. Who would have thought? We need people to watch our video. There's a lot of reasons why people click off a video, but the two main reasons is they don't have enough proof, right? So what is trust? Trust is I believe that what you say is true. in order for me to believe you, the best thing is if I see it. As human beings, we're very visual, and so it's very hard for us to envision your proof, right? And believe you, because there's so much with AI generated videos, there's so much fakeness on YouTube and on Instagram and TikTok. There's so much things that are not true and fake gurus and all this kind of stuff. And so the best way to establish trust is give them proof that you have chops, that you know what you're talking about. So proof can come in a form of like receipts, like results, like screenshots and case studies and testimonials. It can come in through expertise like this, like me sharing what I know without a script is proof that I know my shit. So when you show proof combined with you deliver on the promise of the video, that's when people stay and watch. So if I made a video about how to grow your business with a podcast, but then I started talking about my pet cat, which I don't have. Actually, I'll talk about my pet dog, Rocco. My pet Rocco, my little chihuahua. So if I start talking about him all of a sudden throughout the video, and it's like, hey, I didn't sign up to watch this guy pet his dog, then you're going to sign off, right? Even if I have proof, you're going to sign off. This is the format. You need to have proof. You need to deliver on the promise of the video, that is the title and the thumbnail, and that's when people watch. And so when you have all those things combined, when you have people clicking on the video and people watching the video, YouTube will reward you with more views and more trust. And with those two things, you get clients coming to you ready to buy. And that is the simple formula and how you can, get people to watch your videos, watch your podcast. So step 1, we're going to do position. Step 2 is publish. Now, step 3 is all about profit. How do we profit from this? How do we get people to our offers and our lead magnets? It's quite simple. The simplest way to turn your traffic into profit, into revenue, is simply having a system. The reason we have systems is so that we are not dependent on. So if I go on vacation right now and I don't have a system, I'm not going to make any sales. But if I have a system and I go on vacation, my content is doing the attracting and the pre-selling and the trust building, and then my system is bringing in the profit. So how do you install this into your business? You should already have some of these systems, but in case you don't, here's what I recommend. Just set up 3 simple systems. You need a lead capture system to capture leads, a nurture building process, right, or system, and a sales system or process. So the lead capture is very easy. Have a lead magnet. This video I can make into a lead magnet, right? I could go on Stan Store or go to my website and say, hey, learn, the secrets to growing your business through the podcast method. And people give me your email and I give them this tutorial. This could be a lead magnet, or this document that I have right here. This could be a lead magnet that I give people, right? I have everything you need to learn how to grow your business through podcasts, through the podcast method, right? So I go through everything in this document. That could be a lead magnet. And I just get their email in exchange. Now, the next thing is nurture. How do you nurture them to become clients? Well, really simple. Again, it comes to trust. It's like the more proof that you show, the more trust they're going to have. So my email sequence that I send out is just like proof. Like, hey, here's how I help Patrice go from 10 to 30K from a single video. Very, very simply. Like, I don't overcomplicate it. I don't have this rich, super long email. I'm not saying I'm the best email marketer by any means. That's not my skill set, but it works well for me. So this nurtures people and shows them Kyler's videos actually hit. They actually work. And sales process, quite simple. I have a VSL and then I have a low ticket event. Actually, so right now I'm doing 3 things, but for my clients, a lot of them do this, right? We have a VSL that explains the offer. Doesn't always talk about the pricing. Some do, some don't. But we have a VSL that really goes over the offer. What we then do is have low ticket events. So for high ticket entrepreneurs, what's worked really, really well for a lot of the entrepreneurs I work with is we run low ticket events. So people pay anywhere from $20 to $250 to attend a workshop. Could be a 1-day, 2-day, 3-day workshop online where they learn a very specific thing. So if I wanted to turn this into a workshop, I can turn it to 3 days and how you can create a podcast or a fake podcast to grow your business in 2025, and it go through everything, and people pay money, and it's a very tangible result at the end of it. Well, this is perfect because when people buy, that's an indication they have a problem. That's saying that, hey, I'm willing to invest to solve this problem. So those are prime people for your high ticket offer. And so this worked really, really well. Like, not only to make some money, it wasn't their biggest money maker, but it like oftentimes absorbed the cost of the ads or absorbed the cost of like, the extra content we had to create, and resulted in tons of book calls in the calendar through this low ticket workshop. So VSL, low ticket workshop. And something I'm doing now, which you can sign up for, is a wait list. And this is great, especially if it's a new offer and you are still building the offer. Run a wait list, because a wait list is great. It's like, hey, if you're interested in growing your business and growing a powerful micro personal brand, which is not to go super famous like like the Jenners out there, but to actually grow a micro personal brand where you are known for something and people have trust and they buy from you. It's just like effortless. If you want to sign up for that, you sign up for the wait list, and there's no real tangibles yet because we're building it we're just getting interest, we're getting demand for it, right? So if you are interested in growing your business in 2025 using the power of video, using the power of podcasts and YouTube, then go ahead, sign up for the wait list, because I want to help you make it happen. But those are the 3 ways that really help convert leads into sales: a VSL, a low ticket workshop, also known as a webinar, and a waitlist. Those have been really, really great. And depending on where you are in your business, those would be the best things I would do. So here's the thing. Here's the next step, guys. Okay. I'm giving you a lot of information, and you might be wondering, okay, like, this is great. This is awesome. Now, there's 2 types of people watching this video right now or listening to this. There's the one person watching this that does nothing. This person will keep watching other videos. They'll stay stuck. They will rely on the algorithm and posting random content with no clear strategy. And basically, they're just consuming content to consume content, but they don't learn anything. I remember reading a whole book and then wondering, like, what the hell did I read, right? It's because they weren't they weren't actually putting in action. So the second type of person watching this, right, which is probably only maybe 10% of you, 5% of you, are the action takers. They'll actually take notes from this video and go implement it and get results. For those people, for those action takers that want results and want results faster, you want to quickly speedline your way to success, then I want to invite you to my waitlist. I want to invite you to my coaching and consulting program, where I'm going to help entrepreneurs actually grow their business in about 90 days with the power of YouTube and podcasts. Just like I have, just like I helped Patrice, just like I helped Tim, just like I worked with Dan, just like I help with all these different entrepreneurs around how to design content that actually shines a light on what they do best. Because that's the biggest thing here, is that content should not be complex. Content shouldn't be this thing and that's scripted and so thought out. Content is just documenting what we're already doing. I came here, I have felt inspired to talk to you guys today about how you can grow your business with the power of the podcast method. And that's what I'm doing. No real script, off the cuff, just taking you through some of the things that I know will work for you. And so for those people that want to take action and you want to see success, I invite you to this waitlist. It's in the link in the description. And hey, if you're not ready for that, no problem. Put in the comments what you want to see more about. What do you want to learn about, right? But if you do want to take action and actually start making some progress, 2025, guys, it's already March. We got to make some progress. If you want to start making progress, let's make it happen. Join the waitlist, and I can't wait to see you in the next video.